1, Section 4. Measure and classify angles. So, an angle, it consists of two different rays, but with the same endpoint. The rays are often called the sides of an angle, and the endpoint is also called a vertex. In plural, we call them vertices. So there are four kinds of different angles. Here's the first one. We call it acute. So what an acute angle is, it's more than 0 degrees, but less than 90 degrees. For example, this angle could be 35 degrees. This is the acute angle. Another type of angles is called obtuse. It's an angle that is more than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. For example, this angle would be 120 degrees. A third kind of angle would be the most famous one, the right angle. This angle is 90 degrees. And the sign used to represent it would be a little square right here. The last kind of angle is called a straight angle, which is (180 degrees). It can also be considered a line. Postulate number 3. Is also called protractor postulate. So what it states is, for example, let's consider an angle. This we will call it O, and this B. And this A. So what protractor postulate states is that, let's consider this line OB, this ray OB. It's actually a line. And of course the point A. So they're on one side of OB. So they can be matched one-to-one from real numbers from 0 to 180. Let's say, for example, that this angle is 80 degrees. To figure it out on the scale to the absolute value, you do the following. Angle O equals 80 minus 0. The difference between each one is 80. Another way to do it would be, for example, angle O equals 0 minus 80, which is negative 80. But that would still bring us to the same results, which is 80. About angle bisector. What is it? For example, let's take 90 degrees. What an angle bisector is the same as it would be in a line segment. It cuts an angle into two congruent parts. So what it is 90 divided by 2 would result to 45, meaning that each of these is 45 degrees. Now let's talk about congruent angles. What congruent angles are two angles that have the same angle, meaning that these are congruent. For example, this angle is 30 degrees, and this one is as well. And that is represented by this or a line crossing to it. What possible element number 4 is addition angle addition. So angle addition is for example, let's take these two angles. We'll put this one 30 degrees and this one 78 degrees. Angle addition is when you add these two angles together to form 78 plus 30, 108 degrees, which would result to something that would look like this. So how do we identify congruent angles? Let's take this angle, for example. It's going to go like this and like this. So we're going to name this point G, point H, K, J, and I. So, what we know to identify this angle is congruent to this angle, and this angle is congruent to this angle, and we know that these angles are congruent as well. So, what we're going to write is angle H, measure of angle H is congruent to measure of angle K. Measure of angle J is congruent to measure of angle G. And of course, measure of angle I, G, I, H is congruent to measure of angle K, I, J.